You kiss your kids, you go out, you bust your butt every day as hard as you can, give 100% effort so that people will give you an opportunity. You do everything right, and you go home and you...
Don't start. We'll get on that shit a little bit later.
If it ain't white, it ain't right.
Why?
What's happening?
Yeah, what's good with you big old pimp?
See,
Captain. That's what I get for trying to be too cute with this red light and shit. I couldn't even see like my volume down button for the microphone and shit like that. Over here trying to be cute and shit.
Yeah, that shit real sexy back there now.
Say red light special, man. You know what TLC said. You know what happens then. Red light special all through the night. That was a good damn song though. Who wrote that? Anyway.
I don't know. Probably Teddy Riley or somebody.
Yeah, some shit. Motherfucking Drake wrote it and he was 12.
Right after Hotline Bling.
But yeah, what's good with you, gentlemen? What's good with you?
Bro, you ever get high to a song and then every time you hear that song after that, even if you're not high, like you get like that little like, oh shit. I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, my kids are in there playing the Interstellar song because they like classical type music to like calm them down at night.
Sure.
That's
typical.
Anyway, they're in there playing that song, and now I'm thinking about a fucking mushroom trip I had. I listened to that song. I'm kind of freaking out a little bit.
It's a song that my kids listen to, but I smoked a good mushroom.
I was about to say, was it not a good trip?
No, it was a good trip. It was just,
it was a trip. And speaking of trips, I text y'all cats last night because I was sitting there watching this shit. The movie Bad Trip on Netflix, okay? Listen, forget the Saints. Nobody care. But the movie, like, listen, okay? I want to let y'all know right now, when you watch the movie, be high first, right? That should be the first thing. Now, but then when you also watch it, there's really no point into it. You just... because ultimately it's a movie where there's really 3 or 4 actors, right? It's Lil Rel, Eric Andre, Tiffany Haddish, and like 1 or 2 other people that you really don't even give a fuck about, right? But they're acting in a movie, right? But everything that they're doing it in public, and they're freaking people the fuck out, right? Like all the people reaction is completely organic, but they're doing a script, they're doing a movie. It is I ain't gonna say the most, but it is the funniest goddamn thing to watch. While you
is it funny or was it funny because you were high?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? Just because I love the concept behind it, right? Like no one's in on a joke, but everybody's reacting, right? And they have candid cameras, hidden cameras, and all this other shit, and some of the shit is pretty obvious, right? It's very, very
so I
obvious.
thought it was like a movie. It's not like a movie. It's like a TV show type thing.
It is a movie though. It's a movie, but just them 3-4 actors are in on the movie. Nobody else is in. Like the people that are around them, like they did this scene at a zoo, which was a little bit over the top, let me say a lot over the top. But they did this scene at a movie, and people were like freaking the shit. They were just freaking the hell out. It was like, oh shit, what the hell? So again, just get high and watch it. It's fucking hilarious.
I can do that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm technical difficulty over here today.
Fuck it. It's Tuesday. Anything is possible, But nevertheless, how was your weekend?
Okay? Do I sound like I'm like in a big ass room?
Yeah.
No,
you sound
I'm
like
technical difficulties over here.
What technical difficulties do you have going on today?
Well, I don't like putting on headphones, but I do this for
This
the
is
fans.
bullshit.
Simon, can you hear us, Simon?
I do care about
I do care about the fan experience. So
Oh shit, yeah. Now you sound like you're just look at that fucking guy over there.
There we go. Look at
hold
that.
on.
Now we're back. God damn it.
We got some adjustments to make.
There we go. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah,
Talk about technology on the fly. This is bullshit.
Say it again.
Man, there we go.
Nah, that's it. Talking about technology on the fly. This is bullshit. This is not what I paid my money for.
See, get them back. Get them
like
back.
I said, this is what I'm saying. I have any problems getting onto the network. Today, now the shit just didn't want to connect for like 10 minutes. Hey, I'm just sitting here like, how you gonna tell me I put in the wrong password on my Wi-Fi?
Well, because it was a monsoon yesterday throughout the whole goddamn city.
Hey man, I ain't trying to hear that shit with Texas. Y'all better do better.
Cut the machine off. Cut the weather machine off. We're done. We got enough rain. We good, son. Shit.
Jesus, man. Jeez, man. I'm just trying
and
to
it always comes late at night too. Like
this shit was never during the day.
It's never at 1 o'clock. It's always it's never at 1 p.m. It's always like 11 p.m. You about to relax and then Sorry, Jesus.
Sorry, Russell Wilson, actually. But no, that shit happened. That shit happened a couple of weeks ago. Like I can't remember the last time like I flinched, like when there was lightning and shit outside. But like I was kind of just barely waking up a little bit, and then all of a sudden I heard Did I just jump? Did I just jump at almost 40?
Hey man, when that whole catch and the whole house shake. I mean. I'm not the only one that was shook. My house was shook as well.
Dude, the lightning made me think I had ghosts. Like I was sitting in this room upstairs, and I'm the only one up there on the whole fucking second floor. All the lights are off, and I'm just sitting. I'm watching TV, but the door is open, so I can if anything did turn on, I could see it. And I just see this bright flash, but I didn't hear any sound. There was no sound, no rumble, none of that. Right. So I didn't realize we was about to have a storm. I just see this bright flash, and I look over like, what the fuck was
that? You see some eyes looking at you and shit.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck was that? I'm pretty sure the lights flickered just now.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, that's that bullshit, man. But
that was one of those where I got up and walked in every room up there. I was like, all right, got to do a checkpoint.
Okay, let me ask you this: how paranoid are you? Did you have some heat on you when you was doing it, just in case?
Well, no. I mean, that's downstairs, so I didn't have it on me. So I was going mano if I found anything. So.
yeah. We'll say we was going all hands. Yeah, so Simon's still having technical difficulties. I was trying to give him some time, but nevertheless. So Jamal, hey man, you know what? How was your weekend? Let's just go there. How was your weekend, buddy?
I was good. My mom was in town, so we hung out with her, and my nephews came over, and my sister, and we were playing. We were actually playing this. Anybody download the game Crossy Roads, or you may have already played it, LP.
Crossy Roads?
Yeah. So Crossy Roads. So we get to playing this, and I'm competing with my nephews, who are what are they like 9 and 6 or something like that. Right. And so they try to get and my nephew gets a high score of 101. So I spend the rest of the day trying to get over his score. I couldn't let him leave, right? I couldn't let him leave until. So then I score a 103. I score a 103. I was like, all right, you got to go. I was like, I got to go now. Get out. He was like, no, let me try again. I was like, nope, you got to go. But
you're that guy.
Like your son. The problem was like your son, they have too much time to get good at shit. So these motherfuckers called me yesterday talking about, oh, we got a 170. I was like, 170?
What the fuck? We were just dealing with fucking 100s yesterday.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, yeah. Apparently they played that night and all morning and shit. And their little hands somehow mastered the game. While I was handling real shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Oh, gotta be a daddy today. Oh, yeah. Well, man, nah, that's
Yeah,
pretty dope.
I'm looking at plumbers and shit like that. But but no, it's a good weekend. Good weekend.
Good. Look, oh shit, there you go. What the fuck, man?
What the fuck, man?
There he is.
It knocked me out again.
Again, like I said, it was raining yesterday, so you know, shit happens. But
Gotta get my damn tablet. Shit.
looking ass, fuck it. Oh yeah, and happy May the 4th be with you, whatever they
Man,
say.
for hey. You see.
It's 504 day. All right, that's what it is.
Oh, good job. So we got
that's a good way to switch it back up on you.
Yeah, there you
go.
Yeah. Yeah, this is also the day my grandmother died too, back in 1997. Just
well,
I had to ruin it just then, didn't I?
Yeah, just bring it down a notch. Why don't you?
Rest in peace, Granny.
Sorry
Miss you, baby.
for
Love
loss.
you. But all right, so yeah, let's jump right on into it. Fuck it. Who the fuck is Tim Scott? Let me start off with that, right? Let me start off with who the fuck is Tim Scott? Never heard of the guy ever. Until
You never heard of Tim Scott?
He's been around, bro.
I mean, I understand that he has been. Obviously, the nigga just didn't pop up out of nowhere. But at the same time, I ain't never heard of him, right? I don't live in South Carolina, nor do I give a fuck about anything that goes on in South Carolina. I'm assuming a bunch of incest.
He live in America because he's in Congress.
Ooh, it's South Carolina. Do y'all have a stop sign? Anyways, yeah, that's what y'all get, motherfuckers, because that's how y'all be doing people in Texas. Oh, you got horses? Yeah, anyways. But Tim Scott, he was the from Sleepy Joe's I don't know, the State of the Union address. He was the Republican response. You know, he said a lot of dumb shit.
Token up there.
Do what?
Token nigga.
No, let's start a Coon Hall of Fame, dog. We gotta start a Coon Hall of Fame. But we gotta record it. It can't be like the Vagina Hall of Fame where we don't remember. We gotta record the first inductee, and that needs to be Tim Scott.
Okay, so we're gonna go Tim Scott. Are we making this retroactive? Let's see. This is how this works, people. This is how this works. Will we make the Coon Hall of Fame retroactive? Because Ray Lewis is definitely going first.
Wait. What did Ray Lewis do? Oh, you talking about the Kaepernick thing?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
we'll review his application. You know, we'll review his application some years down the line. You know, we got to be one of them legacy.
Legacy cool niggas.
Yeah. So
he's younger. Maybe he can do some other shit and help.
And we can start a Coon Hall of Fame, which reminds me, J-Lo, I think she's coming up on a Hall of Fame vote here in a little bit. Anyways, but we can start the Coon Hall of Fame. But again, like you said, Tim Scott, you know, one of the things that stuck out to most people, right? He said that America is not a racist country. Now, before saying anything else, gentlemen, your thoughts.
This country was literally built on racism.
Okay.
I mean, that's not even being hyperbolic. That's a fact. It's built because they had slaves. That's racist, inherently racist. So, what the fuck are you talking about, nigga?
Okay. Nigga, shit. Mom.
Go ahead.
I mean, but you don't even have. I mean, of course, that's the foundation of it, but you don't even have to go that far. I mean, just look at the stuff that's still going on. And even take police brutality out of it because you know, white people say, oh well, white people get wrongfully, you know, fucked up by the police as well, which is true. It's different ratios, but it's true, right? But other things like the fact that you know, how everything is prosecuted in terms of drugs, where white people and black people do drugs at the same rate, but black people have 3-4 times the likelihood of being arrested for it, right?
Right.
So clearly that's, you know, and so she can't deny. There's been lots of research on that, and it's pretty well accepted in, you know, in legal land. But not that they do shit about it, but they understand that it's a thing.
Right.
So she's well aware of that,
Right.
but that's not racist. I mean, a lot of different things that happen
Mhm.
in terms of how black public schools are operated versus
Mhm.
some other schools out there. There's different
Right.
things that you can highlight, and I mean, goddamn, do we have to point out that she was born in 1964, the year the Civil Rights Act passed, which
Well, we're not
literally
talking
was trying
Kamala
to.
yet. We're not talking Kamala. We're talking just Tim.
Okay, I'll keep it to Tim. But even Tim, he's around her same age. Like, so
Right.
he's born in the 60s, which, of
Right.
course, we know the 60s were, for black people, all about bringing down Jim Crow laws, which
Mhm.
literally write racism into the laws, not to mention the Constitution, where this
Yeah.
racist, three-fourths of a
Three
person,
fifths.
three-fifths
Mhm.
of a person, shit that they wrote in
350
there.
man. I
So
need
even letting
you.
that aside, you can look at the modern laws that were specifically for a certain group of people, right? I mean, there's
Right.
a lot of human beings have the capacity to do bad things to other human beings, but this is pretty much the only place where it was done specifically on racial lines.
Right.
Um, there's, of course, people get treated different in other countries, but a lot of times they're the same race, so it's more on class or,
Yeah.
Right. Right.
what
Right.
area did you come from, what family you come from, that kind of stuff. But the one thing about that is you can eventually rise up out of that, even if it's hard, right?
Right.
Somebody in your family can start a business. Somebody in your family, I'm talking about along the line of your whole family. Somebody
Right.
can
Yeah.
break that chain and, start a business, invent something, end
Right.
up, getting a good job, so whatever the case may be,
Right. Right.
and raise you to a different level. But when you do it specifically on somebody's basically racial phenotype, then
Nigga,
there's
what
no
is
getting
the
around
phenotype?
that.
Right. Right.
Phenotype is
Yeah.
just your features.
I get that, but I'm saying, well, yeah, go ahead.
It's
That's
keep on
anyway.
using your big words,
But
bro.
when you do it when you do it specifically on those lines, there's no way
Mhm.
to get around that. You can't like graduate up out of there. I guess you could marry some white people and eventually whatever. But why would you want to do that? So of course it's a racist country, and it's okay to say that. Like that's what it is.
Right.
What are Nazis anti-Semitic? Is it bad to say that Nazi Germany was an anti-Semitic country at that time?
Right.
That's what it was.
Right. Right.
Was
Yeah.
South Africa racist with apartheid thing? Of
Very much
course.
so.
So
Right.
like,
Right.
how is it wrong to? But in America, you can't admit that America's ever wrong, right? They have
Right.
this thing about that.
Let me give you his full quote, okay? Because this is a matter of interpretation too, right? And I'm reading a quote. He said, "America is not a
You
racist
should have had
country."
a raccoon gif that you and here's the quote.
America is not a racist country. And I got this from ABC News, and took issue with what he called fighting discrimination with different types of discrimination and trying to use our painful past to dishonestly shut down debates in the present. Right? To me, that's what makes it worse. To me, saying something like that makes it worse, right? Because everybody knows America was based off of this shit. It's always been based off of it, and obviously it's still based off of it to this day. But to disregard things that happened in the past to make it seem as if, oh no, well, we don't have to deal with this kind of thing anymore. That's again, these are people that are making laws. That's fucking stupid for you to sit up here and say some shit like that, right? And then you try to sugarcoat it and be like, well,
Yeah.
that still doesn't have anything to do with the issues that we have today. Hey man, it's not an apples to apples comparison. Hey, send that to me. If you send it to me, I promise you I can put it on this motherfucker in like 10 minutes. But that has nothing to do with again, where the systemic racism lives,
It-
right?
it-
It has nothing to do with where, again, just overtly racism. Like, some people look at black people and clutch their purse or do this or do that, like, oh, you got dreads in your head.
I
That
use if I see somebody do that to me, I usually flinch at them.
Nice.
Scary motherfucker.
I like that. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with scaring the shit out of people. But again, it just to me, why would you put that kind of narrative out there? Like it doesn't make sense.
It's
Well, look,
classic.
I mean,
It's to me. Hold on this one. It's classic, like trying to deflect because he's in a good position. So he's
Right.
he's looking at it with a narrow vision of just what's happened to him. Like for a black person, like there's been black people, not all black people got mistreated and been, subject to racism and like overt racism and stuff like that. You might have had, something like you might not have got the job over this or that, but you might
Right.
not even known this shit.
You never knew. You never knew.
Yeah, you never knew. But that's that type of shit where he looks at shit narrow with his vision where, oh, well, if it hasn't happened to me, then that means it didn't happen. Like, no, motherfucker. If you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it type shit. And he's one of those motherfuckers. He's trying to like downplay what happened in history to like, oh, well, that's in the past. Like, no, we're in this country. We're all in this. There's still people that live and think like that. Like I said, 1964. That's when my mom was born in 1950, 57, 59. I'm sorry. My dad was 53. Like, no. So when you're telling me you're talking about, oh well, it's equality and stuff like that. Like the civil rights laws were to make equal laws, so we would have equal footing. That means we've always been behind, just on regular shit, like being able to go to the bathroom, my nigga. Like what
bathroom?
But even like, and this goes to the racist country thing. So like we all know about redlining, right? But if you look at like there's and there was a thing on this professor who did a study on racial the wealth divide racially, right? And he was talking about how people will dismiss it and be like, oh, whatever. How does that affect them today, right? And so he gave an example of basically in the 40s, 50s, early 60s time frame in America was turning from an agricultural society, and a lot of people were moving into the cities, right, where most people live now.
Right.
As they moved in, they started creating what are now suburbs, right? Now, in a lot of these suburbs, they wanted people to move out there, but that at the time wasn't necessarily the lifestyle, right? There wasn't such a thing as suburbs. It was a new kind of idea. So it didn't necessarily click for everybody. Yeah, let me move to this other town outside of the main town and live there, right? So they wanted to get people to move out there. So they started basically giving them land or giving them or selling them or building all these homes, these neighborhoods, and selling it to them at $10,000, $12,000, $6,000 for a full 3-4 bedroom family home, right?
Right.
Okay. So, but within the bylaws of these neighborhoods was specifically stating in plain language that black people couldn't live there. So you locked them out of all that. Now fast forward, 20, 30 years, all these houses that they bought for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 have appreciated up to $500,000, $700,000, $600,000, and are still in their family, and they're able to finance college with it. They're able to start businesses with it, like Jeff Bezos, whose parents gave him $200,000 to start Amazon, right? So Bill Gates, the same thing, but they basically were able to build a wealth base, and by they I mean like the middle class. You were able to build that middle class that could then push their kids to be upper middle class, and so on and so forth, right? But when you lock black people specifically out of that, then that's a whole generation of wealth that you weren't able to build because of that. On top of all the black centers of business which they destroyed. Either by building highways over them or in Tulsa's case, just straight up bombing them, and killing everybody. So that also is another, you're killing. What would that have been now?
Right. So I'm a movie buff, right? And sometimes I find logic in illogical situations, especially when I'm watching movies, right? But it kind of goes back to Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan
Cool.
Aykroyd, right?
Yeah.
And you look at that movie, and it's a fucking phenomenal movie. It's fucking hilarious, right? But you also look and go, look, give this person a chance and give him the opportunity to be able to do certain things. Watch how it's going to turn out, right? And you know, you put again someone who's used to this and that in the reverse, the reciprocal situation, how they're going to turn out, right? It all kind of works like that. And for the life of me, I still don't know why people don't get that concept. Like, no,
because
like,
it's common sense.
Sure, you know, but again, I still don't get why people don't get that concept. It's like, hey, look, man, you have to put people in places to succeed, right? No matter what it is, right? If we want to say, if you want to call yourself Christian, a Catholic, or whatever it is that you want to call yourself, like, I don't think any religion says fuck everybody else. Every religion is supposed to build everybody up. Even if you don't have a religion, you want to build people up, right? So if you put people in those situations, then thus you're in theory, you're gonna have more successful people. But if you're steady doing systemic shit, if you're steady just being overt with it, guess what you're gonna have? You're gonna have this problem where, again, people will say, well, America's not a racist country. However, to quote another movie, I hate Jews, niggers, and fags, but I love Brian Lewis. You know what I'm saying? Again, that was a movie. Shout out to Chris Rock. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it boils down to. Like, come on now. Like, to sit up here and say that shit in front of the free world, oh, that's fucking errant and dumb as shit. Now,
but again, we're giving these people too much credit. We think they're smart, and it's like, no, and in a way they are. They know how to play the political game, but they're really like stupid people, like in real life, because they don't know how to handle real life situations. Like you say, like in trading places, put one of them motherfuckers, even they been black, put them in a adverse situation where shit is not going to turn out well for them, you know, just off a general. And see if they can make their way out of it. And I know 10 out of 10 times they're gonna buckle.
Yeah,
they're gonna buckle under the fucking pressure.
Of course.
So that's why I'm saying and I mean, it's just the corrupt system that we have, but it's the system that's in place. So I look at them motherfuckers, and for the most part, they're all just talking heads to me. Like somebody's feeding them lines, and they're just saying it. They don't know what that fucking really means in real life. Like if they met somebody in real life and said, hey, if I walked up to Tim Scott, like, hey, bro, that was fucking disrespectful what you just said. He'd be like, oh my God, I didn't even know. Everybody I'm around thinks it was great.
And the cold part,
I mean, I will say I do expect it from him, because I mean, it is something a Republican would say, but normally it would be like, you know, Mitch McConnell or somebody like that, where you would expect him to say
all
that.
that white dude say the shit.
Yeah. So, but I mean, among other reasons, they always ask why black people don't vote for Republicans. But like I said, among other reasons, which is many, but one of them is that they just pretend that shit is not real. So It's like, even if I wanted to go along with your shit, which I don't, but even if hypothetically I did, just having you dismiss something that's actually a big um, issue in my life doesn't work, you know. So
right.
that's kind of it's a deal starter. I mean, or a deal stopper.
Yeah, but like
deal breaker.
Financially, you know, I fuck with Republicans financially. You know, I don't have true Republican money. I don't have that shit, but I fuck with it. But everything else, oh man, y'all can eat a dick. Like, you can truly eat a dick. Now, in saying that, so your vice president came out and said something. It's a GIF. I can't put it. I thought it was a vid. But your vice president came out and said that she does not think, also, this is what you were referring to earlier, that she doesn't think that America is a racist country. Now, I'm going to read the full quote, Jamal, before you go off on your rant, right? She said in quotations, "No, I don't think America is a racist country, but we also do have to speak the truth about the history of racism in our country and its existence today."
That's a slick double talk bullshit.
It is. But again, if you're gonna sell me on something, sell me.
Kamala Harris, yeah.
If you're gonna sell me on something, sell me on something. Watch him, I'll hose up some coons. Hey, fuck Tom and go first because we know where he going with this.
No, America's not a racist country. America's not a racist country at all. We do have to acknowledge the history of what's happened, but not the present. We don't have to acknowledge the present where everybody lives.
Not in the past.
Hi, Joe. I'll be back in DC soon.
Look at that. There we go, right there. Check out Thomas. Hey, check out Thomas. Where you at, Thomas?
Oh man, it's just what do you say?
Check him out.
Y'all think if it's Republicans that are racist, Democrats think y'all are stupid and get an ID. They think y'all have no ability to do anything for yourself. Clearly Thomas don't listen to us because this is not a Democratic loving podcast. Bro.
Yeah.
So I spend more time yelling at the Democrats than I do the Republicans.
Fuck Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Fuck both of them. We don't give a shit about them.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Shit.
Yeah. I spend more time yelling at them than Republicans because I know what I'm gonna get from Republicans. Like that's just whatever.
It's right there in your face.
The Democrats are the ones who pretend like they're your friend, but they're not really your friend. It's like
they all got an agenda.
What's that joke that? Yeah, it's like that joke that Chris Rock had when he said America for black people, America is like the uncle who paid your way through college but molested you.
Right.
It's all little.
No, square business. But appreciate that comment, Thomas. But Simon, what you got? What you got on Kamala?
To me, that with that comment right there, it showed her the lawyer in her to be able to double.
It's all good, Thomas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. To be able to double talk her way through that shit by leading off by saying something dumb, but trying to back it up and like, yeah, but I know we have racists in our history. Like, no, bitch, we still got racism now. Like, cut the bullshit. Stop with the minutia. Stop with the minutia crap. To me, it's getting to the point. It's like this is. I guess it's a personal preference for me that most and a lot of my friends are not. They don't beat around the bush with their feelings. So whenever the fuck somebody says something to me, if I agree or disagree with it, they're telling me how they fucking feel, which I love because I know I know exactly where you're coming from. I might disagree with you, but I know where you're coming from. That type of double talk bullshit is like, man, you don't get the fuck out of my face with this shit. You think I'm really that dumb?
Right.
Like, I just don't. But they really be thinking people are stupid, and it'd be really them. And I would think that was her just talking to herself because that sounded stupid, But it is what it is. It
was a safe quote. It was a safe quote.
Was it?
Very safe. It was safe because she said, okay, I don't think America is a racist country. So the ones that aren't racist, she kept it to the left, right? Or she kept it safe.
Right.
And then she was also like, well, now let's still talk about the stuff that happens still now and then still happens back. It was a safe quote, right? She's trying to appease everybody. The Obama effect is what
again, you're never gonna please everybody. So just to me, just do what you do and let the chips fall where they may. Man, get the fuck out of here with this. You're trying to, be safe on this side so you don't offend these people, and being safe on this side, then you end up offending everybody. So it's like,
right.
If you had just said what the fuck you meant, I'll rip. It was like we've talked about this before. It got some traction for a couple of days, then the new news cycle would have hit, and this shit would have been forgot about.
Did you see the gorilla in the zoo today?
Yeah. So That shit is like, who are you really trying
Like
to save outside of the money in your pocket?
Well, look, they know, like my boy Dr. Umar says, Black Americans are a cheap date for Democrats, right?
Oh,
So, you
oh,
know, so
oh.
so when you think about it, if I'm given a stupid question like that, and I know I'm gonna have to piss off somebody. Either I gotta piss off white people by telling the truth, or I have to maybe piss off some black people by kind of dancing around it like you did,
Mm,
right? Well, first of all, it's not gonna be all black people who even care. Like some of them you're talking about, they'll be like, oh yeah, but she went to Howard, so AKA, ski week.
Tim Scott.
So, but then there'll be others who are turned off by her. But then again, what's their alternative, right? So
Right.
uh, you can't go with the Republicans and their bullshit, right? And
Mhm.
so a lot of black people will just say, well, lesser of two evils. I always say the lesser of two evils still gets you to an evil place,
It
just
still gets you
slower,
evil.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And who knows which side is going to get you there slower. My sense is that they will both get you there at the same time, just in a different
Yeah,
way, right? The Democrats will pretend to be nice and say a lot of nice sounding things while doing some very mean things.
And
So
wear Converse coming out of
all
their
that to
home.
say, yeah, all that to say, like, so she could afford to do what she did, and she probably won't pay too much of a political price for it. Maybe a little bit on the margins, and that can be effective because now they're running these tight ass races for
Mhm.
presidential can't races. So it could come down to just several thousand votes in some state somewhere, where that could have mattered. But I think that's how she kind of thought about it, and she went with the best option for her. But I mean, she's not an ally for black people. Just look at her career, right?
Mhm.
She can't. She got no space to talk. Her or Joe Biden have no space to talk
yeah.
about the criminal
Mhm.
justice situation, right?
Mhm.
Joe
Mhm.
with the crime bill and
Mhm.
Kamala with
Mhm.
just
With,
Mhm.
locking
the
every
three
nigga she could
strike shit.
find
Yeah,
up in
the
San
three strike.
Francisco.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
What I just learned
yeah,
recently too, Louisiana, y'all got a 3-strike rule too, huh?
yeah.
Yeah,
I think now
it's
they've kind
very
of started to roll some of that shit back because the prisons were so full. They literally
man.
didn't have anywhere to put them.
I
And
forgot old
Louisiana
buddy's
is not the
name.
kind of place you want to be like housing them in tents outside. That's not going to work. They're going to die.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they've
Says,
kind of slacked up on some of it.
I forgot
yeah,
old
because
buddy's
Not
name.
quiet.
out of the goodness of their heart though.
Yeah,
No, no,
quiet is kept. Quiet is kept. When you're state property, you're supposed to be safe.
You know. So
supposed to be.
um,
Supposed to be. But yeah,
all the private prisons are like, oh, sorry, we sold out. We sold out.
Yeah.
We're all booked. We're all
yeah,
booked. You can send them
yeah.
back to the street.
We're booked through the summer.
Yeah, you can send them back to the street.
We'll DoorDash the prisoners to you. What the fuck? But
So I mean, but I do hope that this wakes a couple of black people up that this is not the one. I know they're always looking for a fucking hero, right? It's partly that like MLK syndrome. They play that shit all over and over again. I almost start to think because they don't like celebrate any black people like that, like they do MLK.
right.
It almost starts to make me think like, oh yeah, like give them like a Messiah complex type shit,
Well, that's
have them
exactly what
Yeah.
it
waiting for the
is.
next one.
Like
And every
that,
Yeah.
charlatan that comes along, they're gonna think is like the next one who's
and
gonna
that's
say,
exactly
ain't nobody
that's
coming to save
exactly
you.
what it is
You gotta save
because
yourself.
when I
Yeah.
heard Martin Luther King's voice on a goddamn Dodge Ram commercial, that was it for me. And we're talking like 5 years ago. Now I was already kind of done with it anyways, but it's like really so somebody paid enough money to have somebody to Martin Luther King definitely was somebody that was trying to, not trying to in the civil rights era that was doing things to try to make,
Getting
you
shit to
know,
move.
yeah, getting shit to move, right? And
With
y'all
a
stole this,
600 horsepower
you
tranny,
sold this nigga
I have a
out.
dream.
You sold this nigga out for a goddamn Dodge Ram?
I have a dream for a truck with a giant tailgate for all my barbecue, and with a rhino lining on the inside of the bed
Yeah.
so my clothes don't slip.
And shout out to Malcolm
Yeah.
X. I ain't seen his voice on a commercial yet. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
You had
they
to see
hate.
that for a minute until that
Yeah,
You'll
racism
never see
history.
that. You'll never see that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. That it's weird. It's like I said, that Messiah complex. It's a weird spot they try to put people in to try to make them, and I feel like the U.S. is almost trying to double back on because they got convicted of killing him, so that's the one that be like, oh yeah, that was our bad, so yeah, we gotta celebrate him. Even
Man.
our court said, y'all killed him.
Yeah. With a straight face. Then I got some videotape.
Yeah, and the only two to vote against it were John McCain and Strom Thurmond, who was a grandmaster or grand wizard, whatever the fuck they call it, the KKK, who was also best friends with Joe Biden. So that wasn't a deal breaker.
It wasn't a deal breaker at all.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was one of the things.
With that outside elbow, how your elbow gonna be outside of your elbow? And then you get to doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Man, get the fuck out of here.
But that's when white folks could call you Negro and you had to just take it.
How you do? You mind what?
That's how McCain had to raise his hands. He had to raise his whole body. Just hey, how you doing?
He's a goddamn war hero.
That dude had a six pack till he had a six pack till he died with all that shit.
Said core strong than a motherfucker.
Yeah. He was planking, my nigga. But if Kamala really wanted to answer that question, like last thing on that for me, if Kamala really wanted to answer that question though, because I don't even like the question, because it's not subtle enough. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of one of those black and white questions that kind of just paint you into a corner, and somebody can just say you can't answer it the right way.
Yeah, it's one of them yes or no type questions, and the answer is yes. But for a politician, I get you to be a little bit more nuanced than that. So, like, what I would have said, what she could have said was just been like, first of all, that question is kind of silly, right? Like, what was slavery? Yeah, what was slavery? What was Jim Crow? You know what I'm saying? What was the destruction of Black Wall Street? What was the whole Iran-Contra thing, pushing crack into black neighborhoods? You know what I'm saying? What was redlining? What was the whole criminal justice situation in terms of convicting black people for the same crime with a harsher penalty? Like, we know about all these things, and what if any other country did it, we would say it's a human rights situation, right? But when the United States does it, it's all just bad apples. Well, there's a lot of motherfucking bad apples, and there's a certain point where you have so many bad apples that the whole fucking container is rotten. So. Right. And at that point, I don't understand how you could clearly just point out the things that have happened, you know what I'm saying, and say, yeah, this is a country that has a problem with race, right? Now, you can deny that, and to deny that is to deny the history of it. And
right.
I mean, if you want to live in Never Never Land, you can do that too, right? It didn't work for Michael Jackson, though, because at some point it's reality, and you got a plastic nose. Right, so America needs to recognize its ugly plastic fucking nose.
Homo things.
I mean, it didn't work. Like he said, it's just,
wait. That nigga said America got to realize it has a plastic nose.
And everybody can see it, but they keep pretending it's beautiful. It's not.
No, we're in, like I said, America's in so much denial that it's funny, but it's not funny because people's lives are affected by it. But it's funny because it's like if you say that to somebody that's just believes that America's the bullshit that they pander, everybody united and blah blah blah, whatever minutia shit they want to say. Like, nah, my nigga, that shit just doesn't fly open. Ooh, that was my fault. And the shit is just having a bad day. What the fuck, man? It's just, but that's just how we can't. How long can we sustain this? Is the question. And there's anybody that really looks at this objectively knows this can't sustain for that much longer.
It's at a boiling point. It certainly is. Now, the next thing, that I want to discuss is the how the school systems are nowadays with wanting to just kind of get rid of, talking about slavery and how
That's
that
that PC bullshit.
now okay now again. Ultimately, there's some school districts across the country. They're saying that okay, let's get rid of, talking about slavery and that kind of thing because that puts and
It makes people uncomfortable.
me movie buff, right, or like TV show buff, right. It goes back to it's not even movie, this is real life. It goes back to the OJ Simpson trial with Johnny Cochran, and when he to say that black people can't identify with the word nigga, that they won't make, when he giving Christopher Darden, he giving him his coon card, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so it goes back to that. It goes back to like, no, look, it is what it is. However, identify it, recognize it, change it. You know what I mean? And so now school districts are wanting to get rid of talking about slavery in the curriculum. Like there is no history without Black history. Shout out to Morgan Freeman. There is no history without Black history. So no, you're not removing it from the curriculum, but just speak truthfully about it. Like if you're going to talk about slavery in school, talk about how it was fucked up. Talk about how, again, people don't have a chance. Black people don't have a chance, right? Talk about that kind of shit. Don't just remove it all the way and act like it never existed. No.
Yeah, because where are you gonna go with this? So you're gonna gloss over, whenever they fuck Christopher Columbus, but whenever he discovered America, right? And then after that, we're just gonna
miss the Dominican Republic. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. It's America. But we're just gonna skip over. We're gonna skip. Discover where people live. You're just gonna gloss over from that point all the way up to what now? Like it's basically what you do. Like, you're not gonna say like all these monuments and buildings and shit that fucking praise all day. We're not going to ask how those got built. We're just going to say they were just there. Like, what the fuck?
Like,
the White House itself.
Yeah, like, where are we going? Where are we going with this?
Where do you start at? If you get rid of slavery, where do you start?
Yeah, like, where are you going with this? I get it. Yes, it's uncomfortable. That's where people should thrive. You should thrive to being uncomfortable because it makes you a better person. It makes you be able to think nimbly. Instead of just being comfortable all the time, which everybody kind of wants to do nowadays. It's to the point. It's like, man, some of these people, you just get the fuck away from me because if I can't watch what I say all the fucking time, I'm gonna speak from my heart. Right. And then in some situations it's called for. Sometimes it might not be, but just know I'm always gonna be 100 with you. So be 100 with me. Don't be trying to. Oh well, it was always laughing, giggles, and boo boo blue blue. No, fuck, it wasn't. It was not. Don't. It was.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But overall, my whole opinion on it though is just that is it history or not, right? Like, did it happen or not? Like, you can't. How are you going to go over that period of time and just not acknowledge any of that? That makes no sense. Like, it creates a whole gap in the history of the country, and it doesn't make any sense, right? And it almost seems like they're trying to just forget that any of that shit happened, right? Mm-hmm. Which all that shit that happened helps explain what's going on today. Mm-hmm. And they should be trying to learn more about it. Like, if people could understand the reality of what really happened, then maybe they would take it a little bit more serious. And by they, I mean a lot of white people. If they really learn the reality of what happened, right? If they could empathize with slavery, and not only slavery, but everything that came afterwards, like they do the Jews with the concentration camps, right? Right. If they can empathize with it like that, Now there's people who hate Jews for whatever reason, but it's far less of a situation with that than with us. So
Yeah, Thomas.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why you would want to take it out. You should be focusing on it more and getting more in depth with it. And it's not. I mean, I get why it would make white people uncomfortable, obviously,
Mhm.
but it's also the truth.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. The truth is
you know,
always uncomfortable.
And,
yeah.
and
So, I,
Go ahead.
but these same people will talk about PC police. Like, this is the most PC thing ever. Like, just trying to
Yeah.
erase something from history.
right.
Yeah. It's like peace. Yeah. It's like there's things that like like getting rid of like old cartoons that were overtly racist. Like that's okay. I mean, I get that they were out, but saying trying to remove slavery, which is an actual thing, was tangible. It was touched. It affects people's lives until this day. There's certain reasons why, like in black communities, they have a distrust for police officers. Because when police officers were formed, they were formed to get niggas back on the form that ran away. So you think that inherent fear doesn't lead? It just leaves. It just magically disappears. Like nah,
Right.
fear is one of the core values of a human being. It's called fight or flight risk. Thing. It's a fight or flight thing. So are you gonna fight back or
Yeah.
are you gonna run?
Right.
That's embedded in just out of just the flatline level. It's like, come on, man. Let's really think about this shit.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, but the main issue though is, if you let's see what Tom's talking about. On behalf of most white people my age, we are uncomfortable. We want to have this debate. Everything. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You have, and I don't even understand like that when people say we want to have the debate. Like, what's the debate?
What's the
You know what I'm
debate?
saying? Like, did the shit happen or not? So what's the debate? Like, it's not a debate. It's about admission. So for instance, you can't just think about it. Sometimes bringing really big things, it helps to bring them down to a small level. So just think about in a personal level. Somebody does something to you that you feel is wrong. It's obviously wrong. Everybody can see it. And they even acknowledge, yeah, she was kind of fucked up, right? But they don't ever apologize for it, and and even more, they don't try to make up for it. And I'm not talking about reparations, uh, but they don't try to make. So, for instance, in South Africa, which they still have problems, but one of the things they did was it was called reconciliation, right? And the government came out, and I'm not talking about every like white person who's come up saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't need that." The government, who's the one who instituted all this, not necessarily, although individuals have obviously have a big part to play, but the government, for their part, came out and said, yes, we did this. Yes, this was a systematic thing that we wrote into our law specifically to target this group of people, the whole deal. And they had to basically lay bare everything that had been going on, which the black people are, of course, knew about, right? But the fact that you are admitting it and not acting like you're crazy, like, oh no, you're crazy. What are you talking about? That don't exist. Like that's not happening, you know. But admitting it, saying, yeah, this happened. It was fucked up, and we're sorry. And then here's steps to try to fix it. Now, it's not a panacea. It's not like overnight things just get better, right? They're still dealing with the shit
No.
today. But that's a much better starting. That's a much better starting point from just outright denial
Right.
and motherfuckers
Removal.
acting. A big part of it, a big part of the problem though, is the a lot of it has already been removed. Not removed in the sense that they don't mention it, but the sense that it's not focused on at all. And um, and a lot of the issues we have today are because white people were never educated on what the real situation is and what the real situation is today, right? And I get on a certain level because whenever I think about something, you have to look at your point of view, but then try to turn it around and look at it from the other side and really try to see what they see. And it's like, well, for them, if you don't have a certain experience, it's almost like me trying to understand what it's like to be a woman, right? She can tell me, she can
Okay.
describe it, she
Okay.
can go through all kinds of different things, but at the end of the day, I'm never going to know what it's
Never
like
gonna
to have
not fully
to have a
understand it.
child in me,
Right.
to you're never going to be able to totally get there because it's so far outside of your experience. You
Right.
can't. There's some shit you just can't understand, but you can listen to how she explains it and try to kind of get where she's
Maneuver
coming
it the
from with
way,
it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
try,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, and try to
basically dumb it down for yourself so you can not
yeah.
be such a jackass.
So for white people who haven't had to deal with the stuff all the time, like from their perspective, I totally get how they would think that's kind of like overblown, or is it like a real thing, or I
Mm.
don't know, that kind of a, what I'm saying, or yeah, it happens, but it's just like a, almost like in the movies where it's the mean white guy. It's that guy exists, but more often than not, it's not demonstrated in that outright in your face fuck
But
you
yeah,
nigger type
it's
way,
more
right?
it's
It's
yeah, it's
much
a more subtle.
yeah, and so
It's
and
cute.
it's a lot of things. We don't have to go into all of it, but my point is, if we talked about the shit, like not debate, but talked about the shit, truly listen to what people's experience is, and stop acting like all these people are just trying to make shit up. Especially given the history where you literally had laws on the books to prevent black people from doing different things. Within people's lifetime. Like my mom was here this weekend. We were talking about that earlier. She was
Mhm.
born in 1950, right? So she grew up. Her whole, childhood, young adulthood was basically under, Jim Crow, right?
Right.
So that's the world she knew, and it shapes. How can you not think it's going to shape how she views the
Right.
world now?
And
How
that
can
is
you,
your mom. That is your mom,
yeah.
right? Yeah, we're not
And
talking
with and
great
with her
grandma.
telling me about the things that happen, and with my grandmother telling me about, and the older the black people get, the worse the stories get, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
like, my grandmother telling me about things. My grandmother's brother, came back from World War II and was a surgeon, right? And some white people in that town where he was a doctor got jealous that this nigga was making all this money and doing so well, and they shot him in the head, and they called it a suicide, even though the bullet was in the center of his forehead, and they found his car on the side of the road, right? And my grandmother told me about that story, or my grandmother's mother. When my grandmother was 9, her mother had some kind of like gastro type situation, a medical type thing.
Mhm.
Ended up being that she was just like kind of severely constipated, which even at that time they could have helped with. But they
Mhm.
went to the hospital in Baton Rouge, and they wouldn't see her because, of course, she was a nigger. So she had to drive all the way to New Orleans to go to Charity Hospital for somebody to actually see her. And at this time, this is in the fucking 30s, right?
Mhm.
This is like 1935, right?
Mhm.
Or no,
Mhm.
1937. And so it's not like you have a super highway just going, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right,
The
right,
highway system anywhere in the country hadn't been built yet. That wouldn't be built till a
right.
little bit later. So they have roads, but it's a long and it's slow, and you're driving a 30s car. So it took them a long time to get there, and she died in the car with all her kids sitting there in the car with her and her husband. And that haunted my grandmother till her. She still cried about it until literally the last time I saw her, when she was, about to die. So those are the type of stories that are in our families
Mm.
that white people can't relate to, and they don't understand the pain of that. On top of the
And
things that happen today, because it's not just a past thing, but you can't relate to that because there is no story like that. There is
Mhm.
no story like that, and I'm not saying it's all peaches and every white person's family is a great situation. They have their own problems, but my point is just on this particular topic. That's why they can't connect to it because they don't hear that dialogue. That's only us that hears that shit about when
Mhm.
something fucked up happens in our families, and it doesn't always make the news like George Floyd. Most of
Mhm.
it doesn't. Most of it
most
is
of
not the dude getting fucking killed. Most of it is not the guy getting killed. It's just getting his ass whipped by the police,
Shout
and
out to
that's
yeah.
my
it.
nigga. Shout out to my nigga Marvin Sapp.
Yeah,
I've
getting his
gotten
ass whipped
pulled.
by the police, and that's
Listen,
it.
that's it. Yeah, I got pulled over in Richardson, Texas. This was when I was about 23, 24 years old, somewhere in that range, maybe a little bit younger. Had a nice little car about me. Mother pulled me over for a rolling stop at a stop sign. Um, Pulled me over. I'm like, all right, got all my paperwork. Here you go, officer. Boom, boom, boom. He goes, he runs it, he comes back. I know I don't have any warrants at this time. I'm still playing ball for Angelo State, San Angelo, Texas. I'm waiting on him to come back. Boom, 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 and he comes out to the car. He comes back to the car, gun drawn. Hey, you need to get out the car. I'm like, what the like? It went from being a traffic stop to like now this shit is real. Gun drawn at me, gets me out the car, puts me in handcuffs. He's like, you're not being arrested, you're being detained. Which in my eyes, detained and arrested look like the same thing. Because you got handcuffs.
I'm in handcuffs, nigga. I'm arrested.
I'm arrested. So he's going through his shit. He starts searching my car and shit like that. I'm like trying to ask what the hell's going on. Come to find out, the motherfucker thinks I stole my own car that's in my name. And then when he finds out that's my car, and I get some people to call up here and this and that, a whole bunch of other shit though. I was up probably, he had me detained for about 45 minutes or maybe to an hour in a little neighborhood street. He gets out, he finally like, okay, I'm about to let you go. His last words to me: if I ever catch you in this town again, I'm taking your fucking ass to jail. Like, my dude, I don't even know who the fuck you are. And then you wonder why I look at cops sideways? Like, it's like saying, and that's not going to make the news because nothing happened at the end of the stop. Nothing happened. I could go about my day. Yeah. He went about his, and it was what it was after that. But that interaction that stays with me. That's happened almost 20 years ago. But I can remember that shit vividly, nigga. I was scared for my fucking life.
And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. Like whether you get pulled over for anything, right? Like because your registration is out, or you don't have a license, or your inspection wasn't done back when Texas you had the extra inspection center and shit like that. Like you shouldn't end up dead. You should not end up dead for this, or you're selling CDs on the side of a store. You should not end up dead for this. Or you walk into the store to go get some tea and some goddamn Skittles. You should not end up dead for this. Or like a lot of different scenarios. You should not the end result should not be
death. Yeah. And that's all. And then and with a lot of this shit, that's the main point. It's like when motherfucker tells me, oh, you should have just complied, man, shut the fuck up. Because you weren't in the situation. Don't tell me you should have just complied. I've been in situations, like I personally, Johnny Tapia, I've been in situations where it's like I'm complying and there's still a gun drawn on me.
Right.
So, like, what are you saying? That doesn't hit that, just like me saying the shit looks, the cloud, if you comply 100% of the time, like, no, motherfucker, then that's not how real life works.
That's not how that works. That's not how that works, man.
Black and white. This shit is real gray when it goes out here. That's why these motherfuckers can get away. If there's any type of discrepancy in the story, that's why all these cops be getting off. But that's all they're looking for. Mm-hmm. So that, like, you miss me with that rap shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Wrap it up.
I guess the moral of that whole thing is, but we started with the education thing, and the moral of it is they need more education and not less, right? Yeah. And it's not all, oh, you're a demon because all this shit happened and you also are white. It's like, this is what's going on in our country, all right? This is the reality of what's happening, and ain't nobody gonna fix it but us, if we're gonna fix it at all. Right. So this is what happened, and now from there, the kids, they grow up, they do whatever they're gonna do. Maybe it helps, maybe it don't, but it does help. It always helps to know the truth.
Man,
yeah,
the truth is never a bad thing.
Recognize, acknowledge, and change. Period. You gotta recognize it being there. Acknowledge that it is there, because you can see it. It's sight unseen. Like, you can turn your head.
Because the thing is, you could stop it if you acknowledged it. If you acknowledge it, it's not hard to stop having your employees kill people. Like, that's not, they can stop it if they want to, but they don't want to. Yeah. So
right.
Yeah. And it's just that, man. Just acknowledge that not you think we're don't take the argument as far as United States being racist as us telling you personally, whoever, that you're a racist. You're a racist. Like, no, there is racists embedded in this country, and understand that we're all not making up stories.
The Ku Klux Klan didn't come from Mars. Came from America.
No.
Okay. So
Indiana.
that hoe is not in Australia, but them big ass spiders is. All right, so we're gonna end it on some sports because I again
folks,
I again want to say that, well, NFL draft was last week. If you paid attention last Thursday, we had our draft episode and we were going through that, and that was phenomenal, whatever. However, the draft is over now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all
and
ages.
everybody has their opinions.
Yeah.
I can get that.
And so, with everybody having their opinions, no one wins a Super Bowl off of a draft, right? However,
Don't tell that to Cowboys fans in the 90s, nigga.
oh man,
man, this is my problem. This is my problem, right? Speaking especially to these motherfuckers, right? Okay, the Saints fans were melting down over the draft, right?
I seen
You know,
some
the
of your
Saints
tweets. Yeah, I seen some of your tweets. Yeah.
trying to talk these motherfuckers off the edge, man. Trying to talk these motherfuckers off the edge, like they. So the Saints draft this dude Peyton Turner, and his biggest sin is that they didn't hear about him, right? And so because they didn't hear about him, they felt like, oh, he should have been drafted in the first round, and oh, we didn't need, we needed a corner, and it's like, bro, if the good corners are gone, oh shit, I saw something outside my window. Anyway,
You too,
that
Thomas.
nigga, I was
Appreciate
like,
it, man.
what the fuck? But if the good corners are gone, then why the fuck would I take a corner in the first round? You don't chase it just because, what I'm saying. You
That's
don't
what
chase
it
it just
is, nigga.
because you need it, right? You take the best player available. And this dude was a good player in his own right. He just went to Houston, which, Houston puts a lot of dogs in the NFL, but
Quiet as kept.
yeah, but it's not like a big football powerhouse in the eyes of a lot of people. So, it's just this guy in Houston, so they go crazy. And then they pick a linebacker out of Ohio State, and they go crazy again. Oh, we still need a corner. They finally get a corner in the third round, but they was like, well, why we didn't pick him in the first round? And I'm like, first of all, the team already drafts well, right? They draft all pro after all pro, all over the place. And you motherfuckers hated every pick. They hated Ryan Ramczyk, and then he came out of the gate all pro. Like, but they didn't like it because he was a right tackle, right? And it wasn't sexy to watch a right tackle's highlights on the draft coverage.
No.
Oh,
So-
nobody cutting up liking film study of a line play.
So I just and look, we know NFL dudes fuck up. They're not just because it's their job and they in theory should be the best at it. Doesn't mean they don't make mistakes. They do make mistakes, but at the same time, to think that you know more than the scouts, what I do is I look at the players. I see the guys who I think I like, but they got a lot more information. They got information about these guys' personality, injuries, and shit they got going on. Little crazy shit going on in their background.
His mama been in the penitentiary for 22 years.
Yeah, like, whatever it is, right? They got a lot more information. And so that's why every draft you see a guy fall. Not always necessarily because of something super negative, but just something, he might have an injury or something, right? Like that dude, that linebacker out of Notre Dame. The Saints fans wanted him a draft, but nobody in the first round drafted him. And shit, most of the people in the second round didn't draft him either.
There's a reason why.
So clearly the rest of the NFL, yeah, we don't know it and we don't need to know it. But clearly NFL, all the teams felt that he wasn't a first round pick, and most of the teams felt he wasn't a second round pick. Mm-hmm. So that's what. So I'm not gonna. Now he may turn out to be a great player because we see that happen all the time. But to think that you know more than somebody who's scouting these guys, who actually gets to meet them and deal with them, interview other people about them, the whole fucking thing. and to be like, oh, well, I haven't heard of him. I heard of this. I heard of Patrick Surtain because I heard of his daddy.
Because his
Yeah,
name,
like,
Amari,
Yeah.
and you would have been happy with that.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you that there may be a corner in the third, fourth, fifth round that ends up being
Yeah.
better than Patrick Surtain. Just
Every
like
time.
Sammy
Yeah.
Watkins went. Yeah, Sammy Watkins went high in the first. Stephon Diggs was in the fourth, fifth round, and he's been a better receiver. It's just what it is, right?
Is that
So the truth will come out.
Sherman's a Hall of Fame corner. He went in the 5th round.
Yeah. So some of these late players are going to end up being better than fans think, but it's just so hilarious watching fan bases melt down. And the only ones who are happy are the shitty teams at the top of the draft, like the Jets, who everybody looks at their board and they see all the names that they heard of because they were picking so high in all the rounds that they actually got, the top dudes on whatever rankings. And but they're never good though. This happens. It's not like it's their first year up there. Like they're up there all the time.
See, and that's the thing. That's the thing that be throwing me off too. Like because you want to have that game changing or that franchise changing player, but like Jets, come on, really? You niggas have been in the top 10 for like the last 38 years, son. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you hated Mark Sanchez, and Mark Sanchez took you to at least 2 AFC championship games, huh? You know what I'm saying? God,
but he was terrible. Like y'all, the motherfuckers act like y'all have one Super Bowl. I'm not trying to land bad. Like this is not just shit on the Jets day, but it's like
it was literally the first one.
Yeah. But it's like, come on, man. What are we talking about? Like, y'all have won and haven't really been relevant since. Don't get me wrong. You've had personalities come through there, Bill Parcells, all this other shit like that. But
they've been trying.
You're always second.
Yeah,
you're always second fiddle. If the Giants, okay, we get it. We kind of get why their fans kind of get aggravated. Yeah, you have a storied history. You're one of the pillar franchises of the league. I understand that. The Jets, come on, man. Like, let's be. If you're
all they got is Joe, man. All they got is Joe.
Like, come on, man. Like, let's be real. Let's put this shit into context. And again, like you said, going off kind of what Jamal was saying, where people are, everybody knows more than the actual team that's drafting. And yet, do you feel like there's some reaches and why they do this, and their need was clearly that. In every draft, there's that everywhere. But like again, like even with the Raiders, and talking about their first round pick, and everybody's like, well, we didn't see him until the second round. So he goes in the middle of the first, which for the most part in every draft, there's about 15 prospects that you feel are guaranteed first round picks. After that is a fucking crapshoot. So everything from the middle of the first round down, if somebody happens to slide or something like that, then you might give tremendous value for that pick. But for the most part, you're picking for a need. And the right tackle was a need. Obviously, the Raiders through a rebuild with their front line, offensive line this offseason. So they went and got the best person they fit their offense as far as they want, and this is no hiding fact. The Raiders want to be a power running team. Like that's what they want to do. They went and got the best graded run blocker in the draft in the first round. How is that a reach? Right. That he basically system fitting. That's a system fit pick, and he already has relationships with players on the team because he's a Bama kid. Nigga went. He played against the best, and the Raiders got about the back. 2 of their running backs are from Bama. They got a receiver from Bama. They got another guy from why wouldn't that's gonna mesh well?
Hey, what you didn't hear when we was doing the show and PJ was down here, he was like, "We got another player from Alabama."
But but that was a reach. But when the Raiders take the safety in the second round that everybody thought was projected to be a first rounder, but when they take him in the second round, they didn't get no value for that. Like where? Like, what to me, it's like, where's the balance with it? Where if you're gonna lambast them in the first, praise them in the second when they get a first round talent in the middle of the second round.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a balance. It's a balancing act. Again, granted, there's probably gonna be some players they pick that ain't gonna pan out like they wanted to, but there's gonna be some players that they pick that's gonna over exceed what they thought they were gonna be.
That's why they
You
call
just
it.
let it play out. But to say, like, you really don't even know if this is a good draft until about 3 years from now, because that's usually when the players figure kind of the game starts to slow down and they figure out what the fuck they're actually doing in the league, and they kind of find their role. It might be a superstar role, might be just a role play, might be special team, whatever it might be. That's usually when they find out. But to just say, oh yeah, that draft sucked because that somebody on this other TV screen told me that it was a bad pick. Like, no, don't get me wrong. These analysts and all that, they get paid good money to do what they do. And I'm not saying I know more. Obviously, they know a little bit more than us, but they don't know more than the team. Like you said earlier, Jay, that like, these people are going out, flying, talking to the kid, talking to him on Zoom, seeing how he retains and able to put information out there. So yeah, I'm gonna lean towards the team a little bit, and we're gonna have to see once it gets to the start of the season if these players are actually good and it is actually a good pick. But until then,
are y'all ready to make a Super Bowl predictions?
No.
Super Bowl. I don't even know who's on all teams. I gotta. They at least gotta get through training camp.
Yeah,
because there's always one motherfucker who tears his ACL. Like,
yeah, it's like even the Broncos. They had their starting right tackle. He blew his Achilles in a workout yesterday.
$10 million up out of there. God damn.
Hey, shit is happening.
However, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I'm gonna do this. I like that smack part. Let me get one more time.
And he actually brought the smack all the way from the ground. It was a ground slap. Like it was a groundswell slap. There we go, groundswell slap.
Did they see it? Let them see it again. Yeah, we got this thing 164. Hey.